Okay, thank you very much. It is 2 o'clock, and sign-up time for committees needs to stop until after the meeting, please. So come on down and take a chair, and we'll get the meeting going. And the first thing I want to do is call the meeting to order and declare that we have a quorum. Thank you all for coming. And we have 2 guests that I'd like to recognize. I do not see Paul Hilgers, but he was going to be here, so I'll try to call him out when he comes. He is the chair of our Westminster board, made up of citizens within the Austin community who provide their expertise and time for a fabulous Westminster lunch each time that they come for a meeting. And one of the people that is a board member that's here is Diane Williams. Diane, would you stand? There she is. Okay. And then you, thank you, Jim. And then you know that Jim Woodrick and Robert Rudehauser, would you 2 stand? I see Jim, oh, there you go. There's Bob up here. We also, and I'm also, oh, who else is that?
Steve
Oh,
Scarlock.
Steve Scarlock is here. There's Steve. Let's give him a hand. Thank you so much, Steve, for being here. Okay. And then everyone should have a packet. And if you would refer to the moment of remembrance, we have a 1-page, and I decided usually we do just quarterly. We recognize the people that passed away in the previous quarters, the previous months, each quarter. But since this is the annual meeting, you have a list here of every one of our residents that we've lost this year. So I would ask you to, let's take a moment of remembrance and just look over this list and let's acknowledge the people in that way. Okay, thank you. Our next agenda item is the recognition of new residents. And likewise, we have a list of all of the residents that have moved in by quarter. And you will notice it's front and back and a 3rd page. So all of you all that have moved in this year, whether it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th quarter, please stand and let us welcome you. Everyone look at this great. Awesome. Thank you all, and welcome. That is a great new folks. And now I'll recognize Lori Humphrey, our secretary of the Residents Association, to present the minutes. Yes, ma'am. Come up to the podium, please. And while she's coming, you will find the third quarterly minutes in your packet. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Camille. Merry Christmas. This isn't on, is it? Now it's on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? I think you can. Well, happy holidays. I'd like to move that the... Okay, that's all. I'd like to make a motion that the third quarterly meeting minutes of October 9th, 2023 be approved.
I second the motion.
Who's seconding it? Pat?
Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed?
Please, no.
Minutes are approved. And then Sharon Verlander, our treasurer. Sharon, would you come forward?
You all should have a copy of the balance sheet and the profit and loss in your packet. This runs through November of 2023. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sharon Verlander. I'm the treasurer. I think I've met most of you, but there's some new ones that I haven't. I apologize.
Okay.
I am going to move for acceptance of the minutes, of the financials as presented.
Second.
Julie Rhodes seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are accepted.
If anybody ever has any questions about the financials, I live in Preston, apartment 237. I'll be happy to give you 1, 2, 3. It's all kept in my apartment. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving now to the Residents Appreciation Fund. Gail Ross, would you come forward and give us an update, please?
I'm Gail Ross. I'm the chairman of the Residents Appreciation Fund Committee. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I'm Gail Ross. I'm chairman of the Resident Appreciation Fund. And as such, I want to thank all of you who so generously supported us. We have reached our goal of the $250,000. Thanks to so many of you. In fact, we've gone a little bit over that. Also, I want to, and that thanks goes for all of you for your generous contributions. Tomorrow, here in Harrisville Hall at 2 o'clock, we are going to have the distribution of the checks to all of the associates. I really want you all to come and show them how much they mean to us. So that'll be at 2 o'clock tomorrow here. And also, we still accept donations at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. I'd like to recognize Cynthia Leach. There she is. Just going to have to hold it. It's loose. Sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Leach. I'm a resident in the Windsor building and have been a little over 8 years. Your Westminster Residents Association Board endowed a scholarship in December of 2021 at the Austin Community College Foundation for students in the culinary arts, nursing, and med tech fields of study. I'm the liaison between the Residents Association and ACC Foundation. A scholarship has been awarded for this academic year to Catherine Newman. She has a 4.0 GPA and is the first generation student pursuing an associate's degree in culinary arts. In the acknowledgement that I received, she wrote the following: as one of the younger students in the culinary program, I feel so fortunate to receive this support in my journey. This scholarship will truly make my quality of life drastically increase as the stress of all supplies and textbooks, etc. have been lifted. Thank you so much for your contribution and for your generosity. I'm so excited to start my culinary adventure. By the way, we are the only senior living center in Austin with a scholarship at ACC for these kinds of students. Today, our scholarship balance at ACC Foundation is $56,620. Isn't that wonderful? I'm very proud of that, and you should be too. So thanks to all those who have donated, and I encourage you here at the end of the year, if you have a sense of giving, please consider this scholarship fund. I have plenty of donation cards and envelopes, and if you ever need them, you know how to contact me. I'm in the directory. So our goal is to build this scholarship fund to be able to award multiple scholarships every academic year. And so please consider it in the future, this year's, and also next. If you have an RMD coming up, maybe give this a thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cynthia. Sue Gilliam, would you come up, please? Everybody knows what this is, right?
Yep.
Everybody has it on, right?
No.
I am having the hardest time
How many
remembering to
people
do
are
it.
wearing them?
Put your hand in the air if you're wearing them. Well,
Okay,
a little less than half.
when you're with, that light is,
Yeah.
okay, I moved. When you're with company, it's not so serious, but when you are alone, like when you take a shower, or if you live alone and you get up in the night alone, if you're wearing this, you can press, and you fall, you can press the button. Now those are the times when you're likely to fall. And I know a lot of people have been saved by wearing their bead necklace. Some people call me the bead lady because I do coordinate the stringing of the beads. Now Ruth orders the beads, so Westminster pays for the beads, and I have a team of beaders who I call my beading angels. We got some angels in the room today.
Would you angels stand, please? Okay, all right.
There's more than that.
There are more than that.
We do have some beads here today, and of course, that they hold your emergency button. They are in the back, and Sarah, another helping lady with me, she is there with the beads, which you can select afterwards if you do not have a string already. And if you would like to be one of the beading angels and help string the beads, there's a sign-up sheet back there. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you and all of your helpers, all of your beading angels. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite Robert Rudehauser to come up and Mikhail Shackelford. If you two would come on up, please. Robert is our chair. Bob, most of us call him Bob, has chaired the nominating committee for our slate of officers this year. So Bob is bringing his report.
As we all know, there's lots of capable people here at Westminster, and it's probably not surprising to find out that many of them are willing and actually eager to serve in various leadership roles among our resident activities. Our nominating committee interviewed 10 of these 12 qualified folks, many of whom were nominated by those of you in the audience. And it would have been very easy to fill a large number of vacancies on the executive committee. Unfortunately, there were only 2. And the hard part of our committee was to try to figure out which of our very well-qualified candidates we want to include in the slate. So at this point, I'd like to ask the members of the nominating committee to stand and be recognized. starting with Ken Ashworth, Kay Forgione, Pat Garling, Charlie Llewellyn, and Jerry Smith. Thank you all for your service.
Okay, and at this time, I'll ask Mikhail Shackelford to preside over the election. I'm sorry, finish your report.
Yes, we do have a report to give, and it's the same slate of officers that you've seen posted around the building in the last few weeks. Our candidates are for President Camille Miller, Vice President Julie Brooks, Secretary Lori Humphreys, Treasurer Sharon Verlander, designated Jim Woodrick, which means Jim will also serve on the board, members at large Roland Cook and Phyllis Waddle. And for the members at large, their specific duties will be worked out with the executive committee early next year. So our committee unanimously recommends the election of this slate of candidates.
And at this time, I'm asking Mikhail, who has been the assistant secretary to Lori, but she also has some great expertise as a parliamentarian, having been at the State Board of Medical Examiners, and performed that role for that austere board. And so I have asked her if she would moderate this election, since I'm a candidate for re-election. So I'm going to step down and turn it over to Mikhail.
Thank you, Camille. Good afternoon. My assignment is to lead us through this election. Your assignment is to choose the people to work as your leaders for the Residents Association. Since we do have a few new people, I want to explain a little about the process. As set out in the Resident Association bylaws, the leadership of the Westminster Resident Association is vested in the Executive Committee. This Executive Committee is composed of 12 members elected by the residents. Each of the 12 is elected to a designated position for a term of 2 years. The terms are staggered, so that the terms of 6 of the positions, or half of them, end each year, and you select new people to fill those open positions. The Executive Committee positions open this year and to be filled today are the officers, the President, the Vice President, the Secretary, the Treasurer, 1 designated member, and 1 member at large. We have with us today Chuck and Rachel, part of our management team, who are going to help us with any vote counting if we should need it, and we appreciate their help. We'll follow the requirements as set out in the bylaws of the WRA, then go to Robert's Rules of Order, and then the precedents that have been set by this organization in how you handle your elections. As set out in the bylaws, the nominating committee shall be appointed by the Executive Committee and shall produce a report with the names of people nominated for each open position. As set out in the bylaws, other candidates willing to serve may be nominated today at the annual meeting by a motion from the floor. And as set by President, voting shall be by voice vote, followed by a hand vote should it be necessary to confirm the results. We will proceed a little differently this year. Robert's Rules of Order tells you not to use a list, but to take each nominee and offer them up for your approval and vote. The order will be as set out in the bylaws as far as the officers are listed and candidates. I will state the name of the nominee as included in the nominating committee's report. Then I will ask for any nominations from the floor. Any nominations from the floor must meet the bylaw requirements to serve on the Executive Committee. Those requirements are to be a resident and be willing to serve. When there are no more nominations from the floor, nominations for that office shall be closed. We'll go to the next position and repeat the process. Depending on the outcome of the nominations proceeding, we may need to consider nominations for another office on the Executive Committee, which will become vacant if an officer is moved to a new slot. In each open, then how will we go from there? In any open position with more than one nominee, an election will be held between the nominees. The nominees will be presented for a vote in the order in which they were nominated. And all elections for a position which has only one nominee may be approved by a motion of acclamation for all those candidates. And any questions about procedure? We'll proceed first with the president. The nominating committee nominates Camille Miller for president. Nominations for president are now open from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for president? Hearing none, nominations for president are closed. The nominating committee nominates Julie Brooks for vice president. Nominations for vice president are now open from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for vice president? Hearing none, nominations for vice president are closed. Secretary. The nominating committee nominates Lori Humphreys for secretary. Nominations for secretary are now open from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for secretary? Hearing none, nominations for secretary are closed. The nominating committee nominates Sharon Verlander for treasurer. Nominations for treasurer are now open from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for treasurer? Hearing none, nominations for treasurer are closed. Designated member. The nominating committee nominates Jim Woodring for designated member. Nominations for designated member are now open from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for designated member? Hearing none, nominations for designated member are closed. Member at large. The nominating committee nominates Roland Cook for member at large. Are there any nominations for member at large? Hearing none, nominations are closed for member at large. Ms. Brooks, the sole nominee for vice president, is currently serving as a member at large. Her election to vice president will leave member at large Class 2 position vacant for the remainder of that term. The nominating committee nominates Phyllis Waller for member at large Class 2 for the remainder of that term. Nominations are now open from the floor for members at large. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are closed for members at large, and nominations are closed for the officers. At this time, there is one nominee for each of the 7 open positions on the 2024 Executive Committee. Is there a motion to elect these 7 nominees by acclamation?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any opposed? Who seconded, please? Okay. And the results of the election are just as you have heard announced, and we are pleased to present to you your new members to serve next year on the committee. They work hard, and be sure and give them a thanks. And thank you for your indulgence.
When all of those that were just elected officers for the next 2 years, and Phyllis, who will serve out the last of Julie's term, would everyone stand and be recognized, please? The other thing that the nominating committee recommended is that we set term limits. And the executive committee voted unanimously for the president to name a committee to review the bylaws and recommend bylaws, and that would be named in January when the new term of the new president begins, January 1st. So I am very excited about that idea because the committee, I'm going to speak for you, Bob, was frustrated with how many really, really qualified, energetic people who wanted to serve. And in preparation for that, I pledge to you as your president for the next 2 years, we have put together, this executive committee has put together a manual that is yay thick about the duties and responsibilities and how this Westminster Resident Association works. And it is a lot of work, honestly. And the nominating committee was very forthcoming with anyone the people that they interviewed, that this is a working committee. And so as you have an opportunity to look at the duties and responsibilities, I would really like to hear from anyone that is interested in becoming an officer or a member of the executive committee in these next 2 years. And we will work toward having some training sessions and some opportunities for people to become more knowledgeable and aware of what the executive committee is doing. So it is a lot of work, but we need new ideas, new people, new blood. So I'm pledging to you that that is going to happen. That committee is going to be appointed in January, and we'd love to hear from folks who are interested in being a part of it. Thank you. And now you are in for a treat. Chuck and Sarah are going to present. Chuck needs no introduction, but let's welcome him with a rousing round of applause.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn over the hard part of this meeting to Sarah to present on the 2024 budget presentation. Let's give Sarah.
Yeah. This is the most exciting part. Come on. I know y'all have been excited for this part, right? Sorry, I get excited about it. So let's go ahead and get it. For those of you that don't know me, I'm sure a lot of you do, but for those that you don't, my name is Sarah Lloyd. I'm the Associate Executive Director here. Been here for 18 years and very proud to say so. Thank you. So just press the over button.
Yeah, great.
Let's start with occupancy. Y'all know what we just built up north, right? Okay, so our occupancy definitely has changed. So we now have, at the beginning of 2024, 374 independent living units. That's a lot, for those of you who don't know. That's a lot of independent units. We are budgeted to occupy 349 of those, so that's approximately 93% occupied for the total campus independent living. For our assisted living, we now have 38 assisted living units. We previously had 22, now we have 38. We're budgeted to occupy 35 of those units for next year at roughly 92%. For our memory support or memory care, we now have 36 units, right? We're budgeted at 31.75 occupied for the year, or approximately over the whole year, 88%. The Arbor, we have 85 units over there, 85 beds, that stayed the same. We're budgeted to occupy 80 of those units for 94.12% occupied for the total of the year. So over the year, that does fluctuate, right? As people come and go and people transition to those levels of care. But this is an average. In the Arbor, we expect 51 of those units to be occupied by all of you all sitting here, or independent living residents. Life care. We'll accept 12 admissions from the outside or private. We'll have 14 Medicare. This is budgeted, right? This is all what we're hoping for, right? And then we'll accept 3 HMO managed care. So that is what we call our census for our Arbor. Okay? You all got the letter, right? You either got it in the mail, you got it in your box. We know what our increases are for 2024. We've increased 4% for our IL monthly fees, pretty much 4% down the line, right? 4% increase for our second person monthly fees, a 2% increase on our smaller inventory. So that's anything 650 square feet or smaller. That's probably gonna be in the Preston, right? 4% increase in our larger entrance fee units, 4% increase in our assisted living daily rate. So our community admissions outside of the campus that come in, that's a 4% increase to them. An increase, 4% increase in our private pay for our arbor, and a 4% increase is budgeted for wages for our associates. So that's where the 4% came when we came to you all for that. These are our major expense categories. As you can see from this pie chart, which I hope you all can see, wages, our associates, are 56% of the total expense for the community. You add the additional 12% for our employee taxes and benefits, that's 68% of all of the expenses go towards our associates in one form or fashion, whether it's their wages or their benefits. Gotta bust my glasses out here. We then have our food expense is approximately 7%. We all like to eat, right? Good food, good food. Maintenance, plant, marketing expenses, and additional supplies. So our 2024 areas of impact, pretty standard, what we've seen year to year. We have to maintain competitiveness in the workplace here in Austin, so we have the associate increases. Our property insurance increased 38%. This, you can ask Chuck, this is nationwide, property insurance went up, but we also, what do? We built a new building, we brought it on board, right? Our raw food costs increased about 6.7% due to inflation. Plus we're all eating a lot more food these days. And we have increase in supply costs, and we also have a lot more utilities and trash. But we always also reinvest into the campus, right? So our capital expense budget for next year is $4,189,150. So there's a few projects that you'll see going on in the campus. I know you see them now, what we're doing in 23, but that will also extend into 24. We typically refurbish, and we're planning on refurbishing 40 apartments. So those are our new residents coming in to experience Westminster, right? Like we all did for you all. The arbor on the second floor is going to get a remodel, a refresh, to mimic the first floor, if you haven't already been over there, in the new rehab suites. Our marketing office is getting a refresh. We are replacing the window treatments and shears in the Preston and the Windsor. We're going to continue our accessibility project. A lot of the doors, we do the hand waving or the pressing of the buttons, so we can all come and go pretty easily. A continuation of our plumbing, Preston plumbing upgrades. Kitchen equipment that needs to be replaced. We're also getting a new bus with a ramp. IT replacement and upgrades. We're constantly improving our tech. We're all using all that cool tech that comes out. And additional arbor equipment upgrades. So when we go and we do the budget for every year, we look to see what our competition is doing. And honestly, they come looking at us too. Chuck and I get texts from our competitors, how much you guys are increasing, what are y'all doing? We go, what are you doing? We'll tell after you tell us. So last year, we went up 6%, right? We all know that. And our competition, Carencia, they went up 7.9%. Longhorn was 6.2%. The Village of the Triangle, they were competitive at 6%. And of course, the industry average, as Chuck has talked about over and over again, was about 10 to 12%. Where we're seeing about that same variation, Westminster is still the most competitive in the market. We've increased 4% for 2024. Carencia is going up to 5.9% on their monthly fees, 5.4% over at Longhorn Village, 6.5% over the Triangle, and industry average is 7%. So Westminster is definitely maintaining competitiveness in the market. Okay, I'm turning this back over to Chuck. Thank you all for your time.
Okay, earlier in the year, we had a strategic planning with our board of directors, all volunteer board of directors. And we did some work on our mission statement. You can actually see it as you go to the elevator there. We've changed our mission statement to be a little shorter, enriching lives through inspired experiences. And our vision statement has changed also. We've also refreshed our logo. We haven't totally changed the logo, but we refreshed it. It is a little bit more blue. So we'll be rolling out some of that over the next several months. We are dedicated to providing a nurturing, purposeful, connected, and abundant life for all we serve. That's our vision. And our core values: resident-centered always, community operation with inclusion and integrity, people first, dedicated and engaged associates, financial stewardship, innovative and nurturing culture, and environmentally conscious. And our guiding principles: we provide hospitality first-class services in a secure, warm, and inviting community. We provide premier health care that promotes and encourages independence, physical, social, spiritual, and intellectual growth while treating everyone with dignity and respect. We communicate well and often. We find unique ways to bring joy to our residents and our associates. We consider the impact of our actions on the world, and we do our best to make the world a better place. We seek and adopt innovative solutions, and we act honestly with ourselves and others. A lot of stuff going on, right? Especially in the Preston. And I hated doing this at the holiday time, right? Hate doing it at all, by the way. But we really needed to replace some plumbing, and we discovered that this year. We had a couple leaks. I've mentioned this in my chat. When we discovered those leaks, we tried to find the root cause. When we researched that, did a discovery, we started cutting off the insulation. We saw some pipes that needed to be replaced. We found them specifically in A and B wing. And so we started to check every floor. When we did that, we found others that needed to be replaced. So the board approved a project, $750,000 to replace the plumbing for our HVAC system. When's the best time to shut down an air conditioning system? When it's cool outside, right? Not too cold, because we might need the boilers, right? So we shut down the system over the last few weeks. We've been doing intermittent shutdowns. I had it turned on this weekend because the weatherman told us that it was going to be 80 degrees and then changed his mind. So it was a little cooler, but we'll be back on that project. We hope to have the project finished. There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's complicated. It seems like things aren't happening, but there's many steps in the process. You have to take the ceiling grid down and all those ceiling tiles. You have to measure and figure out the pipes that need to be replaced, bring those in, start putting them together. Then you put it together, you fill the line, test the line to make sure that nothing's going to leak. Then you start insulating the pipes in that section. Once you do the insulation, you make that all solid. Then you put the sheetrock and the ceiling tiles back. It's a pain. I'm sorry. But the good news is we're replacing it with copper pipes, and we won't have to do this again for another 60 years. That's the silver lining. And we're also, while we're doing this project, we're installing isolation valves for each section of the building. So each floor and each zone has an isolation valve so we can do repairs in units and not have to take the whole building down. So it's a major upgrade. But honestly, considering the Preston's 56 years old, it's a pretty good looking concrete slab. Not too bad. But this is what the future holds for everybody that's dealing with this project. It'll be brand new looking, and what's best is the infrastructure up there is going to be in great shape for a long time to come. So I appreciate your patience, and I do mean happy holidays to everybody, even though that's going on. It's just like the roof. Nobody wants to replace the roof either. So. But once you get it done, it's not so bad. Pool will open Wednesday. It is filled. Sorry for the delay. We hope. It may be a little chilly on Wednesday, but it'll warm up as it continues to circulate. Spectrum's notified us that they've started to install the Wi-Fi WAPs this month, and the solar project. The Carlisle is complete and has been inspected. It's good to go. The Windsor is scheduled for inspection. There was a little delay when they came out. They didn't like that we had a fence next to their service, so they had me remove the fence. We took that out, and now it's scheduled for inspection. The Preston building is pending electrical work. There's about 10-month lead time on transfer switches. They've been ordered, but it'll be a few months before it arrives. Our solar project on the Preston won't be complete until that transfer switch arrives. 2023 has been a great year, even though the Preston's torn up and we don't have ceiling tiles to look at. We've had a lot of good things go on in 2023. One of the main ones being that we opened the Carlisle, and we filled the Carlisle, and we sold our last apartment 2 weeks ago, and we're 100% sold. And that's a great thing. And we did it 8 months ahead of schedule, and we paid off our bank debt 8 months ahead of schedule, and we're happy to say that. Absolutely. Saved us a few $100,000 of interest expense, so good job. Then many other accomplishments, 2023, Best Nursing Home Honor Roll, U.S. News, J.D. Power Award for Senior Living, 4th year, our Best Independent Living and Assisted Living, U.S. News and World Report. Thank you all for filling out that survey, those that you participated. I think we're going to hit that goal again, that award. We received our temporary certificate of occupancy in Carlisle on January 23, on time and on budget, and Mrs. Miller moved in that same day. So, 5-star rated for 15th year this year. 4 times zero deficiencies infection control survey. Westminster Assisted Living was approved for licensure on Valentine's Day. Permanent CO received for the Carlisle. We received the Communitas Leadership Award. We also received a BBB positive Fitch rating with a construction project not yet finished, by the way, which is outstanding. The Arbor Skilled Nursing was awarded the Harrison Award for Quality from Life Care Services. That's our management company. Only 8 communities across the country received that award. We also were approved for our liquor license, which you all are using very well. Thank you very much. A little bit more than I thought you would, actually. We had a great grand opening celebration back in June. We received the AIR Award, which is an award for assisted living quality from Life Care Services as well. We received a Mature Media Bronze Award for our annual report, Live Your Best Life. We received the Gold Safety Award from LCS. This is our associates being safe in their work. And our experience rating dropped to 0.54 this year. We also received Top Workplace Award for the 10th consecutive year by the Austin American Statesman. This comes from our associates. And regionally, we won these awards. Culture of Excellence Award from Austin American Statesman, Employee Wellbeing Award, Employee Appreciation Award, and Professional Development Award. All of those awarded by our associates through the Austin American Statesman. We were top Alzheimer's Texas fundraiser. We were top Alzheimer's fundraising team among all LCS communities, raising $238,000 this year. Maybe we did rate it. Thank you for those that were rated. 100% sold in Carlisle, we talked about that. So it's really been a great year. Thank you very much for making a great year. We had a lot of fun, a lot of events. Speaking of which, there's a lot of events going on this month. I have some renderings for you on Phase 4. And these are just sneak peeks. I'll be doing a presentation in the first quarter of 24 where we have boards and we can show you exactly what we're planning and how we're planning it and where those spaces would be located. And I want to really thank the Resident Expansion Committee. Can you all stand up for me? The Resident Expansion Committee that's been working with me. over the last several months. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your input. So this is the coffee shop, new courtyard. You can see the pickleball courts above them. It's an all-sport court, right? Windsor garage level. So this is the Preston courtyard. This is the conservatory that we've talked about in the Preston courtyard. And this is the west side of the Preston, the west courtyard with the dog park behind the hedges over there. And this is where the new generator will sit. Part of this project, phase 4, is 2 new generators that will serve Preston and Windsor building and provide power for every bell and whistle and system within each building. So if we were to lose power, we could run for up to 7 days and it would not impact us because of our generators. This is a board program. This is the Laurel dining room, so our new cocktail lounge for the Laurel, which will open from the, it'll be open to the new lobby renovation. This is our coffee shop. And this is our conservatory. And I've heard already that the residents hate these chairs. Thank you all for a great 2023, and here's to a better 2024. Happy holidays.
I've been real proud of this last year, keeping us to 1 hour. Today, we have an extra 15 minutes. And we also have the opportunity for everyone here that is interested in signing up and expressing your interest to be on one of the Westminster Resident Association committees. Committee chair people, current chairs, are at their stations in the back, ready to answer any questions that you have. There are some folks who would really like to know who the chairs are going to be before they, I see several people shaking their head, yes, before they actually sign up. The executive committee will meet in January, 3rd Tuesday of the month, and we will finalize, as president, I will propose the names, and executive committee hopefully will concur, and we'll have the names of all the committee co-chairs, editors, etc., available after that meeting, the 3rd Tuesday of January. So if you want to wait to sign up, or people are not here and you want to find out who the chairs are before you sign up, that will be your opportunity to sign up by January 31st. The committee chairs that are nominated will then work together to identify how many members each committee has, how many members they want, if they need to put a maximum on, and then also we're going to set some goals for inclusion of membership from the 3 different buildings. 2/3 of our residents in independent living live in the Preston. And so that will also be taken into account. 2/3 of our residents are women. That will also be taken into account. But then it'll be pretty much up to the chairs or co-chairs to decide if there are any extenuating circumstances where they need to limit or expand or whatever. I think Julie with Hidden Treasures is always willing to take anybody and everybody that'll help, because that's a very busy, active committee, and it is our primary source of revenue for the resident association. So, happy holidays to everyone. There's food and drink available. And thank you all for your confidence in our officers, that you re-elected us. We look forward to a great year. And my door is always open. Any recommendations, suggestions, let me know, and we will take it up with executive committee. And I meet weekly with Chuck, as soon as Chuck hears about issues and problems, he starts working on them right away. So we are I cannot say enough about how blessed we are to have the incredible leadership that we do here. And please, if you can make it tomorrow at 2 in this room in Harrisville Hall, the Resident Appreciation Fund will be handing out checks to all of our associates. The amount that we're going to give is secret. It's a surprise for them. But there's a maximum amount for anyone that's been here a year or more. And then people that have been here less than a year, it's a prorated amount. So feel free to come and welcome them and thank them. You will see people there that you never see. There are a lot of behind-the-scenes people. So thank you, and we are adjourned. And please go back and look at the committees and see if there's anything you're interested in being a part of. And happy holidays.